2. Thank you for joining us for another one of the LTC EdTech webinar series episodes. My name is Brian Bates. I'm the Digital Learning Coordinator for the Learning Technology Center. Here in a few seconds, we're going to turn it over to Mindy as she's going to talk more about ERate with you. But just a couple quick reminders. First, this webinar is being recorded, and you'll receive a link to the cloud recording in your email tomorrow. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to utilize the Q&A chat feature or the just the basic chat feature in the Zoom webinar tools at the bottom of your screen. And we'll open it up for you to unmute yourself and ask questions later on at the end of the presentation. So without further ado and wasting any more time, Mindy, feel free to take over the screen whenever you are ready.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, let's see. I'm stopping your screen share and coming on to mine. Let's make sure that that worked out all right.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Thank you all for joining us today. We are going to talk a little bit about the ERate 471. I'm going to do a quick run through of a 471 application, and we're also going to try to get it through it as quickly as possible. It is not something that's normally done in a 30-minute sit down, so I hope to give you some tips and tricks and give you an idea of where things are and allow you to answer or to ask some questions of me here at the end. So first I want to point out that I am offering a 471 tour. This is the slide deck that I used for my 471 tour around the state. Today I was in Carterville, Illinois here on February 19th. And my next date is in Fairfield on the 21st of February. I do want to make a special note of this training day here on Schaumburg on February 27th. I'm really excited to partner with ICE on that workshop day. I'm scheduled for the very last session of the day on that Wednesday. It's the 3:30 to 4:30 time slot, I believe. And they have secured the room for me into the evening. So if you are coming to the ICE conference and interested in sitting down and having some hands-on help in filing your 471, that would be a great location to catch me next week. Like I said, I will have that room until the evening so that I can support school districts hands-on in filing the application. Just another plug for all of these workshops. We do them throughout the state every year. It is a day-long event. The LTC provides lunch and we sit down and file the forms step by step together. So if today is just a taste of what you would get at one of those workshops, we do take our time step by step and file the forms for those dates. So do check that out. All of those dates are listed and registration is available at our website, which is ltcillinois.org/ERate workshops. Again, my name is Mindy Fiscus. I'm the Digital Access Coordinator for the state of Illinois through the Learning Technology Center. I'm also one of your 2 state ERate coordinators. And these are all of our staff members across the state that are here to provide help to you. And I do encourage you to reach out to our website to find out more about our team, as well as all of the wonderful events that are piling up in our calendar every day. So do check that out at ltcillinois.org. I'm going to get out of this file and actually I have one more slide. If you have not joined our LTC community, I encourage you to do so. That community will allow you to connect with others, and one of the special interest groups that we have in that community is ERate. So you can do that by going to our website, ltcillinois.org, and then click Stay Connected and Community. It'll bring up a page that looks similar to this, which will allow you to join the community, and once your registration is approved, you can choose to join the ERate SIG or Special Interest Group. So that all being said, I am going to go ahead and do a quick demo of the ERate 471 for you today. Here is our USAC page. It is usac.org. That's the program that runs ERate. I'm going to choose schools and libraries from that choice list. One of the questions that I keep getting a lot is how do I find out how much money I have available for Category 2 services? So I wanted to cover that first before we get into the form. If you go to the schools and libraries page and choose tools, then scroll down and look for the 471 tools. There is a Category 2 budget tool. And if you enter in your entity number for your district, it will pull up a tool for you. So let me put in a district number. So I'm going to just log into the portal real quick to collect that. And thank you to Julie Kramer, who's here in my workshop today, willing to be our example for you guys. So let's see here. I'm going to pull this entity number right here from the list on the portal for her grade school, and I'm going to put it right here in the tool, and it will look up the Category 2 budget for that particular school district. So I can even expand it a little further and look at all the expenses. So that has been a really popular question that I've been asked. Just wanted to make sure that we took a minute to cover that here today. So she has $2,000, almost $3,000 remaining in her Category 2 budget. So back here to our EPC portal, from the USAC page, you can access the portal by clicking on schools and libraries and then clicking login here from the top and choose EPC, and it will log you into the portal. Or there's a shortcut just by clicking in portal.usac.org. It will take you directly into your portal. You will have to log in with your permissions at that point. To start a 471, we're going to do so up here in the upper right-hand corner. And this is the initial form. We're going to call it practice here, so I know which one to delete here on Julie's profile. I always like to put in the range of the years, so a 1920 Cat 1 example. If this was your district, you would of course put the district name, Cat 1 example, FY. Here we'll do 471. So in this quick Category 1 example, it does ask you, are you the main contact person? And if you have a holiday summer contact information, you can list it. And then it asks you, do you want to apply for Category 1 or Category 2 services? Most of our districts are still applying for Category 1 services, which is internet access. We are no longer covering phones in the USAC ERate system. For Category 1, it will list out for you your school district. Do not stress if your school district does not have the state ID or the school ID entered. That is something that we listed specifically for this district. You are welcome to list that information out next year when you file your application, but some people have nothing here and panic for a minute. No worries, we entered that in ourselves. That's just the RCDT code from the state. And on the next page, it will tell me the two buildings that do make up Hudsonville School District. So we have a grade school and a high school here. On this page, it actually lists how many students are attending the school at this time. These are the fall housing amounts. So that was from the October 1st SIS report, which are these totals. If you see something drastically wrong with these totals, way off numbers, you can always reach out to USAC and ask them to correct your totals for you. I'll show you where you can do that. So clicking on Save and Continue, it does tell me this school district has a total of 313 students, so a small school district in 2 buildings, and 162 of them are eligible for free and reduced lunch, which gives us a discount percentage of 52% or 80% discount in Category 1. For those of you who are even poorer than Hudsonville, you may see a 90% discount in Category 1 and 85 in Category 2. 85 is the most you can get for Category 2. And you'll notice I keep clicking Save and Continue over in the right-hand corner. This is our meat and potatoes of the form. In order to add a service, you click Add FRN. I'm going to call this Internet. And we'll go ahead and call it Internet Transport from Metro. That's what we filed earlier today. And it wants to know, is this a funding request from a previous year? Yes, it is. We are actually no, this one isn't. She's shaking her head at me. No, it is not a funding request from a previous year. However, if it is, if you are in the middle of a contract, say this is year 2 of your 3-year contract, you can choose yes, and then it will ask you for the funding request from a previous year. There is this wonderful copy FRN button. It works pretty well. You do need to remember to go in and update your numbers, but for this example, it's a brand new contract. So it is data transmission or internet access. It looks like this is a little pull down. It's existing here from the previous system when it asked you to choose telecom or internet access, and telecom is no longer available. It is a contract. There is a place on the EPC to enter contracts. That does take some time and energy. It's something that we cover in our workshops. So do reach out to me if you are interested. If you cannot attend a workshop and you need to know how to enter a contract, I have some YouTube videos that can walk you through that process as well. The system is smart enough to know that it's going to enter in your district bin number for you and search for all contracts for your district. So in this case, it's a very small district with very few contracts. You can see here, some of them are fake because we have been using some of them as some examples, but all the contracts are listed here below. These are all the ones that are in the EPC system for the school district. You can search page by page through here if you want to, or you can also just do a search by award date. The one for internet access is this Metro Transport 3-year that we entered earlier. I'm going to choose that, and then as I scroll down, it shows me the contract details that I have entered for this particular district. It does give a 470 that originated it. We entered that in the contract portal, as well as the company that's serving the school district and when the contract was awarded. So in this case, it was awarded on the 22nd of January. It does ask you for the service start date. I've gotten this question a lot. It's for this fiscal year. So even if you are in year 2 or year 3 of a contract, it wants to know this fiscal year's date. If you change that and put 2018 or 17, it will give you an error and will not let you move forward. And I've had that call several times already. It also wants to know the end contract date. So in this case, it is 6/30, which is June 30th. I encourage you for your contracts to start on July 1st and end June 30th, like our fiscal years. June 30th of 2023 is the end date of this contract. It is a 3-year contract. This page asks you if you have special construction, maintenance and operations, or network equipment. For those of you who are interested in applying for a state matching fund or any kind of fiber build to get to your school district, these would pertain to you, but for the mass majority, they are just reminding you that extra services are available. You would need to note that on your 471. In this case, it is just a straightforward, we already have the internet. We're just renewing a contract with Metro for continued service. This would say contract for internet access for the district. If you want to put details in here, a contract. I suppose I should be in complete sentences. If you wanted to put details in here, if this is a connection for each of the buildings and you want to put the addresses in, you could. That's a little more than is necessary because they do have that information already in the portal. Some people choose to put the name of the vendor here. Some people choose to put the speed of the internet, but it will ask us that in the line item details as we move forward. So clicking Save and Continue on that page attaches the contract as an FRN. So this is our funding service, internet transport from Metro. But in order to list out our dollar amounts and our speed of the contract, you have to click on the number of the FRN here, which opens up another chart. And this chart is for the line items. So the details for that particular service. Clicking Add New Line Item asks you what kind of internet service is this. In this case, this is internet service that is just transport back to the state networks. That's the third choice. But let me walk through those with you. The top choice is a bundled service. It's if you are signing a contract for internet access and the ISP internet service itself. Most school districts in the state have either this type of service or a transport back to the state network. So the top button is frequently chosen. The next one down is a WAN connection or a wide area network connection that just connects one building back to another. So for a lot of our districts, their high school building is connected to the internet, to the wide world, as we say. World Wide Web is connected at the high school, and then our grade schools are connected back in a ring behind that building. I do like to see it when those internet bills from the service provider, when they contain both, please choose the top box as the bundled service. It would even be better if you do one line for that overall connection to the world and a separate line item detail for that connection between buildings. USAC would prefer you to break it out, but I have seen it all lumped under this first category as well. Moving down, the data connection back to an in-state network is what we're choosing in this example. If I was then also applying for Illinois Century Network, that ISP service, that would be the last example. In this case, it is a fiber connection, but you do have various other options that are there. And it does then list you all kinds of different fiber connections. In a perfect world, we would see lit fiber on our list. That would be my choice category. It is not listed here, but if we choose Ethernet, which is also what they have on all the support tickets and support videos at USAC, choosing Ethernet will allow you to come to the next page and enter in your speed. In this case, it is a 200 megabit connection. Notice that our options are megabits and gigabits. So if you do have a 1 gig or a 10 gig connection, you can put that in as well. And the next question asks you if you have burstable bandwidth. It would have to state in your contract that you have burstable bandwidth available. If it does, it will tell you that maximum burstable speed. This is the ability to turn off the restriction of speed on your contract or on your internet access and open it up for a higher level of speed. Most contracts do not have that option, but I just wanted to show you that it is available. And then we get to this fun page of legalese. So the first thing it says is this a direct connection to a single school or library? In this case, that is no. This is an internet connection that serves both buildings in the district. It then says, is this a connection between eligible schools? And in this case, the answer is no again. For a lot of school districts who have them grouped all as one amount, then the connection would be yes, it is between the schools as well as the main connections. So in this case, it is not a connection between schools. Both buildings sit close enough to each other that it is district-owned fiber between the two buildings. And most cases do not include firewall service. If yours does, it will stay. And then on this very last page for the FRN, it asks you to list your monthly recurring cost. And in this case, we're just going to put in a random amount of $1,000. It is $1,000 a month for this 200 megabit connection in our example. All of that is eligible for ERate. If there were other services included that weren't eligible, you would put them on this line and it would do the subtraction for you. One, quantity per month. Some school districts have a set price per building. So if you had 5 buildings, it might be $500 per building of 5. But in this case, it is just one set amount. And I do have to come over here and put zeros in my one-time costs over here on the side, or it can't calculate it appropriately for me. So you can see here, $1,000 a month gives me $12,000 a year. And when I say enter, it says, who is this for? If it is for every building in the district, so I have yes selected, and so this internet access is shared by the 2 buildings. And it's just confirming on the next page. So I should have a line item here that lists my detail for my connection. I have to click continue to take me back to my original chart. And on my original chart, I will see that I have internet transport from Metro. I do have the line item information completed. If I had another bill from Metro that was for another building or another service, I could add that as a separate line, or I could add that as a whole separate funding request. It's just totally up to you how you want to organize it. I prefer to organize funding requests under each particular vendor. So I have this from Metro. I would then add another one for their internet access. From Illinois Century Network. So I would go through that process again to add another FRN for the costs involved with that. At this point, you click Review Form 471 and it generates a PDF. It does take a couple of minutes to do that, and so I'm not going to do that today. If by chance you do generate that PDF, you get to take a view of what that form looks like, take a look through it, scan through, make sure everything's correct, and then there is a varying page of certifications that you can answer. And certify that you are not a criminal and that you are a school and that you will come up with your portion of the funds required for the program. So this will then give you a review form 471. It will turn to a blue bar that says certify here. So that was a quick run through. The category 2 example would be a little bit more involved, and we don't really have time for all of that in our webinar today. But like I said earlier, I do encourage you to kind of come out to one of our 471 tours, or find me at the ICE conference, or available at this email address, so that I can help you through the process. I want to go back here. I'm trying to figure out how to go back. Still show this screen with my information if you want that whole handout. Let's see here for a second. Cancel. Let's see here on Zoom how I turn on my, okay, I have on the Zoom, I will leave up my presentation. Brian, can you field questions for me?
I sure can.
Okay.
There's nothing in the chat or the Q&A, but I have allowed participants to unmute themselves to ask questions. So if you have a question, go ahead and hit the microphone to unmute yourself and ask away.
Thank you. I thought I had those controls somewhere, but I couldn't quite figure it out.
They disappear from time to time. It seems like when you get into a presentation, they don't come back up as easy.
All right. And again, if you have any questions that you want to email me directly, that's great too. My email address is here on the screen. And I am slowly building a YouTube channel under, if you go to YouTube, LTC Illinois is what you search for, and we're slowly building a channel of example videos similar to what we did today, with a little more detail in them.
So I'll go ahead and have one last call here to unmute yourself and ask any questions, or type the questions in the chat box if you need to. And I'll pause one last time here, and if not, we can reach out to Mindy directly for any other questions you might have. So I'll pause one more time. Okay, on that note, then I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up for the day. Thank you, Mindy, for sharing this. I'll also include your email in the your email address in the email that goes out with the recording tomorrow, so people can follow up with you as needed.
That would be great. And again, I know I've mentioned the website multiple times, but do check it out. We do have a lot of great resources there on the website, and linked back to our ERate resources on YouTube as well.
Awesome. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Next week, we'll be at ICE, so stop by booth 520 and say hi to the gang. And we'll be back the first week of March, starting up with our webinars again. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.